What's up everybody, David here, and today we're going to be checking out a bass tone that I used for my song Broken Record. It came out a few weeks back, and for this one we're going to be using Presonus Ampire 2 for all of our bass tones. Now, this was a fun one because I've tried Ampire before. I tried it on video. Maybe I'll throw a clip in here or something, but I didn't like it, like at all. Since then though, Ampire has gone over a lot of improvements. They are now on Ampire 2. They have their new state space modeling technology. A lot of amps have been redone. So I figured I would give it another shot, and it kind of came out sick. So I'm going to show you what that sounds like today. Now, before we get into this, I had kind of a goal with the bass tone. If you're familiar with Beartooth, they have a very in-your-face bass tone in a lot of their songs. It's kind of this fuzzy / crunchy top end, and I kind of wanted those characteristics, but I didn't want to copy a Beartooth tone. So that's kind of what I had in mind going for this. And I think I achieved it pretty well. So let's jump into it. First thing we'll do is I will show you the bass tone in the song. So this is the final mix song. It is going through the final limiter and all that stuff. Figured I'd just leave it in there. So this is the bass tone, how it sounds now. So you can definitely hear it poking through the top of that mix, and that was something I very much did on purpose because I love bass tones. Like, I love bass guitar. I don't like to hide it in the mix. I want it to be apparent and loud, and I think it sounds cool. So let me turn off all this processing. A lot of this stuff after the amp is just going to be compression, moving it out of the way at the kick, and then some final limiting and some EQ. Nothing crazy. All of the tone is going through Ampire. So I'm just going to shut this stuff off, and we're going to listen to the tone through the DI. These were new strings, just throwing that out there. If you have old strings, don't even try it. Like, go get new strings, come back, try it again, because ain't nothing gonna make your old dusty ass strings sound good for a metal tone. So first thing I did here is get the amp and the cab situated. The cab itself for pretty much any guitar and bass tone is gonna be a majority of your overall tonal sound of that tone. A lot of tone in there. Anyways, the amp is gonna decide where the tone sits in the frequency spectrum. It's gonna decide how much low end it has, the characteristics of the high end. Like, that's the shape of your tone. So I always start with that first. And I ended up just going with the STV amp. I think that's the only bass amp they have in here. But sounds cool. I use the 8x10 bass cab. And you can also load in your own impulses, but I really just wanted to try to get a tone completely within Ampire using everything they have here. So volume is normal. Treble's pretty cranked. Mid-range is pulled out of it. Bass is a little less than half, and I think that's kind of all I did. I used the ultra low, it looks like. And then I have the 3000 hertz for the mid-range, and this is what it sounds like. So we have the overall tone and the overall kind of shape of it already dialed in right there, but obviously it's got a bit of work. So next thing I did was start messing with the fuzz. So I'm going to turn this on and show you what that sounds like. That's already like what we want to get out of that tone. That's what I was going for. So volume is pretty cranked here. We'll mess around with the tone knob just to show you what that does. So tone is obviously going to decide where the fuzz kind of is in that bass tone and what frequency it's going to operate at. And then sustain is basically how aggressive that fuzz is and how much of it you want. So that's pretty low because I don't want to completely crush the tone. And I wanted the fuzz to kind of be sitting in the high end because I think it just sounds weird and muffled in the low end. And that's not what I'm going for here. So that pretty much already got me like 90% of the way there. And that's going before the amp. So after we got the fuzz dialed in, that's kind of most of the tone right there. From here on, it's just really shaping it and getting it to sit in the mix and not sound so kind of woofy and overly barky. And that's where this compression pedal comes in, actually. I really want to get one of these, that actual hardware pedal, because this is phenomenal, actually. So I'm going to turn it on just so you can hear the difference, and then we'll go through and kind of mess with some stuff and see what kind of difference this pedal makes. So you can hear the high end is a lot more planted, and it's obviously bringing out more high end with that EQ balance in the middle. So what this does is you can compress the low and the high separately, and then you also have the EQ balance to shift whether you want the tone to be more treble side or more bass side. So let's turn all this down and see what kind of difference this stuff makes. And that's it. That's pretty much dialed in right there. So I dig that a lot. That really helped plant that high end down and just kind of shape the tone a little bit more so it wasn't too heavy on the low end. And then after that, we have the graphic EQ. So what I'm doing here, there's a little bit of bump in the low end, a huge cut in mids and low mids. So that 125, 250, 500, get that crap out of there. And then I have a small dip at the very top end. I don't even know that it's doing much, actually, but let's just turn it on and hear the difference. That made a huge difference. So let's turn that on in the mix and you'll see how much of a difference that makes. Huge difference. It's no longer mudding up that mix. It doesn't sound like cardboard. So that is everything I did in Ampire. That's the whole entire tone. So amp, compressor before the amp, fuzz before the amp, and then EQ afterwards just to clean it up. So I'll show you what I did to kind of get it to sit in the mix. I have the arouser coming afterwards with my thick bass boy preset, and this just kind of clamped down on the bass a little bit more. I have the C6, which is coming afterwards. So this is sidechain to the kick, so that the low end ducks down every time the kick hits. And I have a little bit of multi-band compression at that 150 range, just because I hate it with every fiber of my being. And you'll see if I unmute the kick here, it'll start dipping with it. So that's the C6, and then I have the limiter just to clamp down on it even more. It's not a massive difference, I just kind of want to get some of those peaks and make sure it's not getting too crazy there. And then I have another EQ for more mids. So this is the Fabfilter Pro Q3. This is aggressive. I know I am chopping off some low end. I have 62, this little dip at 62 to kind of make some room for the kick. A lot of mid information I'm pulling out. And then this high end is a dynamic EQ just to kind of tame that picking attack a little bit. And that's it. That's the bass tone. I really hate 150. I just want to clean up that mix as much as possible. So then when we get to a place like the breakdown, this is where it really, really shines. Huge difference. So let's just kind of go back and we're going to turn everything off and turn it back on. And that's it. That's how I got the bass tone within Presonus Ampire 2 for my song Broken Record. And if you guys haven't given this a shot after they updated it, I definitely would, because I was actually really pleasantly surprised with the tone I got out of this, and I definitely see myself using this again. So that's it for today. Definitely check this out if you have a chance and have some time. It's pretty cool. And I also got the metal add-on too, which I'll be doing a video about, because I am intrigued. They got a 6505 and a diesel and a precision drive in here, and I feel like no one has talked about it. So I'm going to dive into that pretty soon here. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Look, I don't really care. I hate saying that at the end of every video. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. My name is David, and I will see you next time.